There's a great sense of irony, isn't there, that a Formula One race with enough tension, drama and anxiety to make anybody want to turn to a bottle of the hard stuff was being run in a country where you can't even get a drink. But the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix has given us plenty to ponder in the fallout. And let me tell you, it's only just starting. If you want the full rundown of everything that went on in Saudi Arabia this Sunday and the fallout as well, wait for the GPFans Stewards Room podcast coming out in the next day or so on the YouTube channel and on all good podcasting outlets as well. But for a brief summary, here's everything that happened on Sunday in Saudi Arabia. Lewis Hamilton won a manic Saudi Arabian Grand Prix to bring himself level in the championship standings with title rival Max Verstappen going into the last race of the season in Abu Dhabi. The first race on the anxiety-inducing Jeddah Street circuit was one to remember, packed with incidents that were all sparked by a Mick Schumacher collision with the barriers that forced a red flag on lap 14 of the race. Hey, Haas are playing a pivotal role in this championship. Remember what happened as well late on at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas? And from that point on, all hell broke loose. The initial safety car that came from the Haas drivers' tumble with the side of the circuit triggered the two Mercedes drivers in positions 1 and 2, with Hamilton ahead of Valtteri Bottas, along with Charles Leclerc, Sergio Perez and Lando Norris to all dive into the pits. A logical move. But Red Bull risked it, leaving Max Verstappen out on track, taking the lead of the race as a red flag came out to stop proceedings. So, a restart with fresh tyres was needed for the drivers, with Max making his tyre change under the red flags. At the race restart off the grid, Hamilton led Verstappen, but the Dutch driver threw it up the inside of turn 2 after attempting to outbrake Hamilton around the outside of turn 1, taking the place off the track. With Lewis avoiding Max, Esteban Ocon was able to slide in front of Hamilton into second place, while behind them, a few turns later, carnage ensued. George Russell and Nikita Mazepin collided, while Charles Leclerc spun Sergio Perez into the barriers, resulting in yet another red flag before one lap had even been completed. Given the illegal pass from Verstappen on the outside of the track, discussions took place over the radio under the red flag, with Red Bull offered the chance to give the place back on the restart grid, which they did, meaning Ocon led Hamilton and then Verstappen from the standing start, with Verstappen risking it on the medium tyres for the final 35 laps of the race, a choice that Pirelli said during the race was a very bold decision, considering the medium tyres were only meant to last 30 laps on full tilt. From the restart, Hamilton was beaten into turn 1 by Verstappen, sandwiched between the Dutchman and Esteban Ocon. Verstappen was through into the lead, while Ocon was quickly disposed of by Hamilton to take the British driver into second place, and the chase was on. Numerous virtual safety cars came into play as debris littered the track from lumps and bumps further back through the field. But by lap 37 we were back racing again, and Hamilton was right on the rear of the leader. Max defended aggressively, going off track as he tried to keep Hamilton at bay, leading to the Red Bull driver needing to give the place back to Hamilton and give the British driver the lead in the race. A lap later, Verstappen slowed to do that, and Lewis, perhaps unsure of what was happening, made contact with the rear of his rival. Max scooted away before a little later on, once more trying to give Lewis back the position and the lead of the race, letting the British driver through, but boosting up the engine and using the medium tyres and DRS to attack almost immediately off the last corner and repass down the home straight. Verstappen was then handed a 5-second penalty for his incident at turn 1 on lap 37, before his tyres fell off a cliff, struggling in the final few laps, with Hamilton taking top spot and the fastest lap point of the race, Verstappen holding on for second and Valtteri Bottas passing Esteban Ocon on the final run to the line on the last lap to take third. Danny Ricciardo took 5th, Pierre Gasly was 6th, Charles Leclerc 7th, Carlos Sainz 8th, and Antonio Giovinazzi and Lando Norris finished out the point scorers. But this was all about the stewards' investigations, and that is far from over as we speak this Sunday. Now, Lewis Hamilton has said he had no idea what Max Verstappen was doing when the two drivers touched mid-race at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. The carnage and fallout from the race in Jeddah came to a boiling point on lap 38, where Max Verstappen looked to allow Lewis Hamilton through as he was asked to after an incident at turn 1 on the previous lap. But the British driver didn't seem to know the situation, as revealed in radio broadcasts later on, a feeling then confirmed by Hamilton in the immediate aftermath of the race. I didn't quite understand why all of a sudden he hit the brakes quite heavily, and then I ran into the back of him, and then he moved on. So I didn't understand exactly what was going on, said Hamilton. Then I got a message afterwards that he was going to let us past, so it was a bit confusing. Reflecting on the fight, Hamilton added, "I've been racing in F1 a long time, but that was incredibly tough. I tried to be sensible and as tough as I could be out there, but also sensible, and with all my racing experience over the years, just keeping the car on the track and staying calm. And it was difficult. We've had all sorts of things thrown at us, particularly in the second half of the season, so I'm just really proud of everyone." "They've, Red Bull, got some raw pace," Hamilton added. "They've been so quick and it was very hard to overtake them here, but we've done an amazing job with what we have." On the other side of the grid, Max Verstappen doesn't fully agree with some of the FIA's decisions in the race. "It was quite eventful," said the Dutchman after the final lap. "A lot of things happened that I don't fully agree with. I tried on track to give it all. I'm not sure the tyres were lasting to the end. I think it was good at the beginning for the last stint, but just lacking a bit of rubber towards the end. Nevertheless, still second." And on that collision with Lewis Hamilton, when attempting to give up the lead, he explained, "I slowed down. I wanted to let him by. I was on the right and he didn't want to overtake and we touched. I don't really understand what happened there." Later on this Sunday evening, the FIA stewards have decided that Max Verstappen was predominantly at fault for the collision between he and Lewis Hamilton on lap 38 of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, saying that in deciding to penalise the driver of car 33, the key point for the stewards was that the driver of car 33 then braked suddenly, 69 bar, and significantly, resulting in a 2.4G deceleration. While accepting that the driver of car 44 could have overtaken car 33 when that car first slowed, we understand why he, the driver of car 33, did not wish to be the first to cross the DRS. However, the sudden braking by the driver of car 33 was determined by the stewards to be erratic, and hence the predominant cause of the collision. A 10-second time penalty has been handed to Max Verstappen, which doesn't change the finishing order of the Grand Prix or the points handed out this weekend, but it does set the tone going into Abu Dhabi next weekend. But we want to know your thoughts in the comments section below. What has happened and what should happen to Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen? And of course, hit the subscribe button for all of the fallout from Saudi Arabia and the build up to the final race of the season here at GP Fans.